Hi, my name is Becca. Welcome back to Raising Them Simply. Here I share everything about our secular homeschool as a family of 6. And today we are going to chat about why we are leaving math with confidence for my 2nd grader. So if you are new here, I have a 2nd grader, a preschooler, a toddler, and this little one along for the ride. I also work part-time as a nurse. So this channel is all things homeschool and how we make it work for our family. So if any of that interests you at all, please hit that subscribe button so you're notified of future videos. But let's jump into it. So this is going to come as a little bit of a shock to some of you guys, but I did film a hits and misses video for my 2nd grader. And so before I put that video out, I wanted to talk about why we are leaving math with confidence. So if you are new here, a little bit of our journey. My son started off doing the good and the beautiful math for kindergarten, and then we jumped into math with confidence because good and the beautiful just did not work for our family and the way that he learns. I was someone that was left behind in the system when it came to math in public school. And so I really wanted something that was easy to teach and easy for him to learn, and really walked me through the steps, because there was some anxiety on my part on teaching math because I was one of the kids lost in the shuffle. My son tends to be more math minded for a lot of different things. And I thought that the math with confidence would be a good fit for us. We completed all of the 1st grade math with confidence. We finished that up this past January. The reason why he's a little bit behind in the math is because he has dyslexia. And so when we were first doing our learning journey, our reading journey, we could not do math and reading on the same days because his brain could not handle that. So we do school about 3 to 4 times a week. He has since been doing fine with reading and all of that, but we're playing catch up as far as math goes. So we started the 2nd grade math with confidence this past January. And I have told you guys on our updates and stuff that we were having some challenges with a few different things. We've been doing a lot of math timesheets and stuff like that to get his addition and subtraction facts a little quicker. I was already looking at doing some sort of supplement when it came to our math, just for more practice. They do a lot of practice through games in math with confidence, but to be honest, a lot of those games take a lot of time. It's something that my toddler and preschooler try to get in on, which just can't happen because then my 2nd grader cannot focus on what he's trying to learn. So it was a little tricky doing some of that stuff, but then some of the games and stuff my son just was not interested in. Sometimes we would try to do a game, or I try to explain it the way that the math book is wanting me to explain it, and he said, "Mom, I already know this answer. I don't need to know that," or what have you. So I was already looking at different math, like a supplement to go with that, because we weren't doing a lot of the games, and I was noticing that by the time math with confidence would do the built-in review warm up at the beginning of the lesson, by the time that subject would come up, he had already forgotten some of those things. Like, there wasn't enough time practicing when it was already on, when he was teaching it, for him to retain it long enough for us to be able, when we did review it, I would have to remind him constantly on what those things were. There was also some things behind the scenes where we were trying to do real life applications for math that he just was not processing. So for example, we went to the store and my son and my daughter both wanted to purchase something with their own money, but they didn't have their own money there with them at the store. And so I said, well, I will buy this for you, but then you will owe me $9 or whatever that was. And so I said, you know, when you get home, you have to pay me the $9, so you could just give me a $10 bill and then I will give you some change. Well, when we got home, realized that he had the exact right money that he needed for that said item. So he had $9 in 5s and 1s. So I didn't give him any change. And he became very upset as to why he didn't get any change back when I told him he was going to get change. So I tried to explain to him, you know, I thought you only had a $10 bill and your toy cost $9. So I would have given you $1 back, but you had exactly $9. That's what you owed me. So I'm not going to give you money back because you gave me exactly what you needed. And he was not understanding that at all. And that became even more frustrating for him when it came time to give change back to my daughter, because she needed change back for the object that she purchased. And then he was even more upset because she got change back and he did not. So there was just a lot of cases like this that he was not clicking with some of these stuff in with Math with Confidence. But when we would do the lessons, he would do the lessons well, and he would tell me that he understood everything. There were lots of times I had to re-explain the concept differently than what it was in the teacher guide, which I'm okay with doing, but then he said he would understand it. So fast forward, we took a month off of school when I was having this little guy here, and we came back into the math, and he was doing much better than he was before break. So I thought, oh, well, maybe he just needed a longer break to let his brain rest so that we could do this. Until we got to a new topic in his Math with Confidence, and he said, Mom, I just don't understand. I don't understand anything in this math. And I said, what do you mean you don't understand anything? Because you do well with this stuff and, you know, all these things. And he goes, Mom, I don't understand. Sometimes I just tell you I understand, so that way you're not, you know, we just move on to the next thing. And so that turned into a whole different conversation about how I said, buddy, you know, you have to tell me when you don't understand, and you're not in trouble if you don't understand something. We want you to be able to understand. And it's very important that you understand these things now, because it's going to be even harder for math if you don't understand this stuff now. Math later is going to be more difficult. So we went from me thinking that we were just going to have to supplement some stuff for extra practice to now looking for a different curriculum that taught in a different way because of those culmination of things. When I was looking at supplementing, I was looking at just the Math Mammoth review packet, because it's a lot of worksheet based problems, and I've heard that that does really well with Math with Confidence. But then when I learned that we were doing a whole nother curriculum is what we were going to have to do, I wasn't thinking about Math Mammoth because I thought they were really similar. So I spoke with a lot of different people. I spoke with Crazy Brave Homeschool on here. I spoke with a few different people in my private life, and trying to figure out what kind of math curriculum. I even went into Google AI to type, you know, my son learns this way and these are the challenges we're having. What math curriculums do you recommend? And ultimately I decided on going with Math Mammoth. So there's a few different reasons for that. One is that they have lots of games and different stuff that you can do with the curriculum as a supplement. It's not required. But she has tons of different resources on there for different games and printing out extra worksheets and all that stuff to help you solidify concepts. She also has videos where she teaches it herself. These works, so it might not be for every lesson, but she will have a video where she teaches a concept for the majority of them. So that way, if your learner is not understanding something, and maybe they're just not understanding it because you're the one teaching it, sometimes it's better to hear someone else teach it and then they do understand it. So I love that part, because I don't want to do all of our math with videos, but I like that that is a option if how I'm explaining it just doesn't work for him. I also like that there's math tests. Math with Confidence does not do like a test until the end of the curriculum, which I want to make sure, not that we're anti-tests, but I wasn't doing tests because he was so young, and my son gets really stressed out if he does not understand something, and he feels a lot of pressure, and he tends to beat himself up if he does not understand something or gets something wrong. But I don't want to do these math tests with him knowing that it's a test. I just want him to do it as like a review, so that we know if there's any gaps that he has or he's not understanding something, we can stop and review that part before we move on, so that we have that. This Math with Confidence as they get the Math Mammoth also, as they get older and for certain things, can also be independent. So the teacher guide and student workbook are all in one with very clear instructions. So if there's a certain topic, he can do it independently by himself. Obviously, I'll be sitting there around him and all that stuff. And especially right now, I'm going to be working one-on-one with him when it comes to math, but I like that that's an option since I do have a lot of children, and eventually we might get to that point. She's also very flexible with her curriculum. So you're doing every other problem, and then you can come back for your review before the test and do the ones that you haven't done. Or maybe if your learner needs extra practice on a certain topic, you can complete all the problems over multiple days. So there's just a whole lot of reasons why I decided we were going to go with Math Mammoth. So she does have a placement test on her website. I will link everything down below, by the way. On the placement test, he was supposed to place 85% or higher to move into second grade math. Now he placed an 80%. Most of that has to do with word problems. Math with Confidence severely lacks in word problems, and that was one of the things that we were having trouble with, like I kind of explained. It's hard for him to understand the word problems. So I didn't really want to dock him and make him redo first grade math just because he didn't understand the word problems. There was also some of the problems he had to answer addition and subtraction facts within 5 seconds, and not to tell your learner that they had 5 seconds. I had the paper and I would do it, and I just told him, hey, I'm going to give you a problem. If you don't answer it within a certain amount of time, I'm going to give you the next problem. And it's okay, you're not in trouble, you know, it's not a big deal if you don't get it wrong, or if you don't get it right, or you don't give me an answer. We're just going to move on to the next one. And he did good with those, but there were several of those that he did miss just because he couldn't do it within the required time. And so that's why it scored him at 80%. I didn't want to have him restart first grade or do the second half of first grade because of that. So what I ended up doing is because 80%, that's still a B. He still did the majority of it right. Those were problems that we already knew we had going into it, if that makes sense. So what I did is I purchased, she has like a supplemental worksheet for grade 1 that I purchased as us to do instead of our time test, or in addition to our time test, a couple days a week, we will do 1 or 2 of those worksheets from the grade 1 packet, and then I purchased the grade 2 Math Mammoth for us to go through this year. Because I'm on leave for the rest of summer, on maternity leave, we are going to be doing school 4 to 5 times per week over the summer. So ideally, by the time that school starts, we should only be about 6 months behind when it comes to math, which is where we were in January prior to us starting the second grade Math with Confidence, if that makes sense. So so far we've only done a couple lessons out of the Math Mammoth. It's all review from first grade, but I'm having him do this because there are differences between how Math Mammoth teaches versus Math with Confidence. So we are just doing that review part. I will keep you guys updated as far as how we like the curriculum and all of that goes. If you guys do want like a flip through or anything like that, let me know in a comment down below and I can make that video for you guys. Either on the supplement packet if that's what you're looking at, or just the Math at the second grade curriculum or both, just let me know. I am optimistic about this curriculum. He likes how the worksheets are. I like how it's still simple and straightforward, which is everything that I liked with Math with Confidence. I also liked that it's not manipulative heavy. You can use manipulatives if you want, and I'm sure we will. She does have printouts of things, so that way if finances is a concern for you, you could cut these things out instead of buying like the shape tiles and stuff like that, which I do really love. But it seems very straightforward, which is everything that I liked in with the Math with Confidence, without all the stuff that we weren't actually using in Math with Confidence before, if that makes sense. So I am optimistic about this curriculum. I am still going to continue using the kindergarten level Math with Confidence with my preschooler. I am noticing some of the same things with her as I have with my oldest, but I'm not going to change her curriculum right now. She is she is 4, she turns 5 in November, so she wouldn't even technically start kindergarten this year if she was in the public school system, because you would have to turn 5 in September for that to happen in my area where I live. I'm from Minnesota. So right now is we're just going to keep working with the kindergarten Math with Confidence with her, and if she is needing extra help or we're noticing still some of these things that we're noticing right now, I may switch her to Math Mammoth, kindergarten, whatever level she needs to be at that time, but we will just keep chugging along with her. It's nothing wrong necessarily with Math with Confidence. I really do like the curriculum, and I think it's a fabulous resource for a lot of different people. It just wasn't, it was starting to be evident that it wasn't working well with my second graders, so that's why we switched. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really lets me know what kind of videos you like to see on this channel. If you have any comments, questions, or anything like that, leave them down below for me. I'd love to hear from you guys. Hit that subscribe button. It is a free way for you to be notified of future videos, and it really helps support my channel. And I can't wait to catch you guys next time. Bye.